What is up, people?
What is up, guys?
Good to see we got some folks in the house already.
Welcome to the beginning of our third season of live streams that we're doing here on Mondays and stuff like that. As you can see, things are getting a little bit better, and we got an exciting one for you today, guys. It's this guy's birthday right here. So wish him a happy birthday. If you're catching this after the fact, if you're watching this in replay, the very first thing you need to do is go down to that comment section and wish this gentleman right here a very happy birthday.
Awesome. Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it. So we've got, as you know, you can tell by looking at the screen, there's only two of us up here. So that just means that we had Grant not show up tonight. He's AWOL. He said, heck with it. I'm not going to jump. No, his son's got a basketball game, which we always say family first. So yeah, he's at a basketball game tonight. That's why we're missing him. We are going to have a guest on tonight. So hold tight. Wayne from CPro Fishing is going to show up. We're going to grill him like he's a steak on a grill. Just put it to him. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. Stanley, what have you been up to, sir?
I had some, holidays and stuff like that, and it's a new year, and we got all kinds of, I don't even know where to begin with the conversation of everything, but we, thanks to Texas and the amazing weather that we are gifted and blessed with down here, I was able to get in a freaking awesome beach run the other day. Working on the video for that. I had family come down. We had a blast. We tore it up. I've got a freezer full of meat. And that's how I'm kicking off my new year. That was how I ended 2021, was out at the beach, filling the cooler with fish. How about yourself?
Well,
hey, Wayne.
Hey, guys.
Wayne's in the house. How you doing, brother?
Cheers.
Living the dream, fellas. Living the dream.
I've seen your Instagram posts. You are, and I'm super jealous of what you're doing right now.
So I'm trying to get this camera angle right here.
Yes,
so
sir.
For those in the chat that don't know Wayne, what's wrong with you, right? Yeah. Wayne channel is CPro Fishing. He fishes out of Stuart, Florida. Does a lot of awesome offshore fishing. We're gonna share some pictures from some of the stuff he's done and does. He doesn't know we went and snatched.
Shoot.
Why don't you go ahead and do that? Let's see some pictures. We're experimenting with some new format stuff here. We're going to be playing around with some things, and I want to see this in action.
Let's see. Let's pull this one up here. Let's go over here.
Hey, Guinea Bagger.
You wouldn't, Wayne, you don't even know the people that we had to call up to get some of these pictures. It's not like on the internet kind of stuff.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
The real CPro style.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a recent one, isn't it? That was just like the other day.
That was Sunday. Yep.
Yeah. What's in the hands there?
All right. So as much as we could fit.
Yeah.
We got blackfin tuna. Got it's in the teens. I think that one is a 16 and a 13. Got about an 8-pound mahi there. About a 10-pound almaco jack, which are actually really good eating on the grill. You've got a mutton snapper, and you've got hanging in my mouth is a sea bass, about a 14-inch sea bass.
I didn't even notice that till just now.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. I'm hung up that almaco you got. That is one of my favorite eating fish. I ate those raw. I love them to death. I wish there was more of them out there.
They're I got to tell you, they're extremely tough fighters too.
Yeah, they are.
When you hook them like 100, 150 feet down and pulling them off the bottom they're tough. They're tough. Pound for pound, they're right there with the amberjack, or maybe even a little stronger for the size.
I totally agree. Couldn't agree more on that one. It's always one of those prizes. Like obviously, we get them when we're out going after amberjack, and we have different rules on amberjack than you guys do. We're a little bit more flexible on being able to take them in Texas, but when we're fishing for amberjack, we occasionally get that. We get about 1 almaco per trip, and when you do, that's the treasure. That's I personally, I think they're better eating than amberjack.
Oh, absolutely, by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then,
it's not really a contest.
Yeah, that was a. I didn't reel this one up, but I did everything else.
Look, I always tell everybody when they're on the boat with me, like especially when the wife outfishes me, she catches the bigger fish and all that. I just tell them, I'm the boat captain. I put the boat on the fish. I put you on that fish. I get credit for the fish too.
Hey, it was my rod, my bait, my hook, my boat, my spot. I'm getting some credit.
Exactly. So we got there mutton snapper.
Mutton snapper, 30 inches.
Yeah, that's a killer fish.
Yeah, 13-pounder right there.
From what I hear, that's
one
of the best eating snapper you can get out there, right?
Yeah.
I had it once, but yeah.
I'd love to have this fish in a video, but it wasn't that great of a day. I mean, we caught fish, but it wasn't like a day where I can put a video together. If I did a video on this one fish, it's difficult because my GoPro died, and then I tried to use my the one on the selfie stick. The footage wasn't that great, but I might do something. Maybe I'll do an Instagram reel with it or something.
Yeah, that happens. All right, what we got next here? We got something else here.
Yeah, you need to. I got to say, one of your it's a crime. One of the issues that I have with you, and it's not you, but your channel. You have an awesome channel, and I'll post a link to it for everybody in just a moment here. You're probably one of the best fishermen, if not the best fisherman in the group that we have here. Saltwater guy, you're the one that's cashing. Like you're the guy. You're setting the bar. You need like 8 cameras on your boat. And I know your boat, I know you're not hauling around on like a 34-foot or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I've seen your fishing, and it's like, I wish I had like 20 angles of every fish that you catch.
I've been trying to work a few different things in, but you get out there and then you start fishing, and it's just, you know how it is. You're trying to film, you're trying to fish, and when you're getting into some bigger fish, it makes it pretty tough. You take what you can get. This is just a small little snook. Right before snook season started, I went out, was throwing some live shrimp under the bridge there. John actually fished under this bridge with me very briefly. We didn't have a bite that day, but John, about 90 minutes, I caught about 30 of those.
You wouldn't believe how hard of a fish that is to get here in Texas. We have them. They're here all over the place, but it's like your mutton snapper, stuff like that. We have a bunch of those too, but they are so finicky here. It's so hard to get them to take a bait.
Yeah. Yep. I've seen folks catch them, but I've never had a chance.
So I'd like to start incorporating some more inshore. We'll see. It's cool. There's a large fishing community here that does not take kindly to YouTube inshore fishermen in the area and posting the spots. And I know a lot of people, and some larger YouTubers we know have been outcast in our fishing community. Some very large figures, and they get harassed horribly at the boat ramp now and online because of posting spots. And that's what holds me back from doing the inshore. So when I do go offshore, no one knows where I am. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with that.
Well, I understand what you're saying there. I probably know at least one of the channels you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a very valid conversation. That's I'm pretty confident. I know the channels that you're referring to also. John and I, and we've had conversations about this early on in doing this whole live stream and everything. John was giving out fishing spots. I'm going to let everybody know that's him. That's what he does. I have never let out a fishing spot.
I only give out your fishing spots. I don't give out mine.
I know people get, it's weird. I read an article, and it was about 3 years ago now, but it was an article all about how professional fishermen were getting all mad. Geez, look at the size of that thing. That's a fish, man. But professional fishermen at the time, there was this whole big deal about how they were getting upset about the whole YouTube thing, because On the other, you're talking about them letting out fishing spots, and that's obviously a valid argument. Like that's a concern, something maybe not because we're so globalized these days. What's the real issue? I don't know. But the other side of the coin is that these guys are making a living off of, the TV shows or whatever things that they were doing. And now it's like anybody who fishes, the first thing they do is they buy a fishing rod, and the next thing they do is buy a GoPro. Everybody does it. Like it doesn't happen if it doesn't happen on YouTube. And some of the professional guys are getting a little bit upset about that. At least that's what the whole article I read a couple of years ago was. Mm-hmm. So there's that thing too. There's a little hostility in that, you have traditionalists who are doing it. They're fishing and they're in it for the fishing. And nowadays it's like, you can't do that unless you have a charged battery.
Yeah. There is a competition between the TV fishing show folks and the YouTube fishing show folks.
Well, there's YouTube channels that are much bigger than any of the fishing.
Exactly.
Channels. Not even.
That's where it's going, right?
Yep.
That's where it's going. I agree. So that's a pretty good size amberjack there, right?
Yeah, it's about 40.
I know folks who will keep them, smoke them, make fish dip out of them. That's about all I hear people do with them.
Okay, hold on a second. I have to say something here. You're saying that's a 40.
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure it?
You mean the length, the weight? What do you mean?
Yeah, OAL. How do you get the length on that guy? I think it's weird. Texas does it weird. At least I think. I'm curious how you do it in Florida.
To the fork.
You do it to the fork. That's a 40 to the fork.
No, that's a 40-pound fish. I'm saying.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No,
okay.
I don't know what the length on that was. It's definitely way over keeper status.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our fish have to be 28 to the fork, which is a pretty good sized fish.
Wow. See, we got to be 34 to the fork. And in state waters, I believe it's like, okay, down here, it has to be 34 to the fork, which I think is oversized. Like everything we get is like 33. It's stupid.
Yeah, that's a monster fish.
Yeah. And so the 34, I don't know, whatever. But in Texas waters, it has to be 38 to the tip. So, it's stupid. I think it's stupid whenever they have weird rules like that on.
Yeah,
on
Texas for a soft-tailed fish, you squeeze the tail and measure it, and for a hard-tailed fish such as this, you rotate the longest point of the tail and then measure from the point to the.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what you're absolutely right on the hardtail fish on all of them, but on amberjack it's different. It's to the fork. For whatever reason, they want to do amberjack to the middle. Waters? In Texas waters. In federal waters here. It's 34 to the fork. In Texas waters, 38 to the tip.
Yeah, federal waters and Texas waters, two different things.
It is, but they're also separated by like nothing down here. At 9 miles you have a rig, and at 11 miles you have a rig.
Yeah, 9 miles. The first 9 miles is Texas water. After 9 miles, you're in federal water.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the fork measurement on an amberjack. Like I understand. So a couple weeks ago, I caught a monster yellowtail snapper, and one of their tail fins goes 4 inches longer than the other. You have to do a fork on a fish like that. I mean, there's some fish I understand it, and this one doesn't make any sense to me.
I thought, I don't know why they do it. Because on everything else, tuna or whatever, you bend the tail down. It's tip to tip. I don't know why amberjack has to be to the fork. And obviously it's not an issue because I'm supported by the fact that Texas doesn't do that. They go to the tip. If you have a monster amberjack and he got sharked and he lost a bit of that tail, that's a strange circumstance, but you can lose a good fish as a result of him not measuring out because he got sharked and managed to survive.
Yep. Oh,
there you go.
That was a good king. That was a 27-pounder.
27. That's nice. Now, did you keep that one and do smoked fish dip and all that?
Yeah, we did do smoked with that. That's not my biggest. My biggest is 47 pounds. That's a 27. Ooh.
That'd be huge.
It hurts my back looking at your Instagram page. That's all I got to say.
So the 47 was a cool story. So I'm out with my buddy Brad. We're on his boat. We're on a 25-foot Nautic Star, new boat, and we were having a fun day. Middle of summer, just when the bonita are just everywhere and you can't get through them. So we're fishing live sardines, and we're just worn out. We've just been reeling in 15, 20 pound bonita for a couple of hours, and I couldn't reel in another fish. And Brad tells me a story. He goes, I was fishing with my wife a couple months ago, and she throws out a dead sardine. I'm fishing live bait. She throws out a dead sardine and catches a monster blackfin tuna. And I go, well, you know what? In honor of your wife, I'm going to throw out this dead sardine. So what I'm assuming happened was this dead sardine got left alone by the bonita and sunk under the school. And that monster 47-pound kingfish was waiting there for an easy meal. And I caught him on spinning tackle with monoliter or fluoroliter, no wire.
He didn't cut you off or nothing. Holy crap.
It was perfect. I mean, the hook was, by the time I caught him, the hook was gnarled and bent up in the corner of his mouth. Couldn't even get it out of his jaw. But that fluoro did not go in the mouth.
That's awesome. All right, so I got another one to ask you about here. Well, a picture to comment on. All right, so those are some awesome muttons, especially the one on the one side there. But what I wanted to ask you about is, what's up with your hair?
We were talking about that before we started. That's funny.
It's the strap going down the middle. I got to wear a hat, man.
I know.
I can't do those. I can't do those head cameras, and I've been screwing up with the chest camera. I just started. Yeah. That was the thing I implemented very late last year. I probably done it for 2 or 3 videos. I was never into it. I was never into the hat GoPro or the chest GoPro or anything, and it was. I don't even know what video it was, but for whatever reason, I'd ordered a kit of parts to use for the camera, and it came with a chest and a hat strap. And I tried it. And when I first got the footage back, I pulled it onto the camera and I was editing a video. I was like, man, this footage is such garbage. Like all you can see is the hand holding the rod and the ocean and everything. It's like, at first I was like, this is such garbage footage. Why do people do this? I hate this. This is exactly what I did not want to be doing when I started. I wanted a more whatever cinematic kind of video footage thing. Right. But then I caught a fish. And I saw that reel screaming and the hand shaking and that rod bent over. And I was like, oh my God, you're inviting people into that experience. Like they get to see it firsthand. Mm-hmm. It took me, I've been doing this for 5 years now. And it took me 5 years to figure out the value of that shot. And I'm totally sold on that now. Like I'm going to be trying to do that in every single video is get that shot. And you're killer at it. You had a sailfish recently. It was earlier this year, I think, where you got just some sick footage of that guy jumping. Yeah. And you got it firsthand like that. And I didn't even think about that at the time until I experienced this. And now I'm experiencing like it in the editing bay and learning it. And I'm looking back at these videos that I've seen of people doing this. And I'm like, holy, like I had no idea that's why I was so into some of these channels is because I'm getting to experience some of this stuff firsthand. I get to do a lot of fishing, but I don't always get to get myself a sailfish or even, like a big pike or a walleye or something. It's nice to see that firsthand.
Tubby Guy Outdoors, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, sir. Hey, Shannon says that it was in Naples. They're not allowed to fish on the pier on Sundays or any day after 10 o'clock at night. And all I got to say is that is anybody who wants to fish on a pier on a Sunday, well, screw you. That's sacrilege.
That's messed up.
I'm kidding. I don't know why they would write.
I was going to say, yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Usually, like under the lights, that's when you want to fish a lot. Some of ours, that's where some really good trout off a pier under lights at night. So that's weird. I've never heard such a thing.
Is it a law, or is it like the pier is privately owned and they just don't want they don't want to pay somebody to be out there or something?
Yes. Inquiring minds need more information on that.
I mean, I'm kind of curious. Ridiculous rules like that. I mean, whoever wrote that rule, I just feel like there's something behind the scenes going on with that.
Hey, folks, real quick, too, for those of you that have been following the Outdoors crew for a while, we had 4 members. Steve Ash out of Michigan, he stepped off because he got real busy with family and the farm and everything. But lately, him and the family have all gotten ill, okay? They're doing better, but still not completely out of the woods. So just keep them in your thoughts, right? Steve, his wife, both the boys, just keep, and his dad. Thankfully, if you watch any of his videos, his dad's in his 90s. He's still out there farming, and he does some interviews with his dad, which are really awesome. A&J Outdoors, and you get to his other channel from there. But anyways, Dad's doing fine. He so far no signs and symptoms, which is great. So, but just keep them in your thoughts, if you will.
Yeah, it's spreading like wildfire out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, got to be careful. So there. Okay, let's pull up Shannon's comment here so we can all see it. And save wildlife. What wildlife?
Any
grasp the concept of not walking behind someone casting the line out.
Any wildlife that requires that pier at that time of night, it's not long for this world.
Good point.
It's full of retired Karens and Kevins.
That's true.
That's
the
funny.
Pelicans. Yeah, the Pelicans aren't all that bright sometimes. Danny has a point. So, Danny, I do the hat now and then. As a matter of fact, I just got a new one, a little bit different style that I'm going to try out. I can't do the chesty because I'm just too big and I got a belly, and so the camera wants to point up in the air. And the only other thing that bothers me about the chesty is some folks, okay, if they just don't adjust it and put it in the right place, when they're reeling, all you see is their hands in the reel, and a lot of times they're even banging the camera with their hands, and that's just, that's not good footage. The drawback to the hat is, like, I'm catfishing, I'm doing a drift, I've got like 4 rods out, and I've got one on, so you want to see me reeling this fish in, but I'm looking at these other rods. The camera keeps going like this, so I got to mentally think about that when I'm using that hat cam.
That's my issue with the hat cam, is it's real shaky. You're always looking around, or at least I'm fidgety. So, you know, I'm always looking around. And I will say for the chest cam, I totally agree with you on that. There's some, you know, difficulty things to overcome with that thing. I have to wear mine upside down. It's uncomfortable, but that's the only way I can get that shot right. Otherwise it points up at the sky and you can't see anything. Yeah, Shannon's saying the same thing. Yeah.
I've gotten so used to the head mount. I don't think I can use anything else. Now the chest,
you don't even use the hat one. You just use the band that goes on your head, right?
Yeah.
I put that on once. I'm like, nah, I wear a hat anyways, so let me get a hat.
I'm not like trying to say that any of us are like full of ourselves or anything like that or whatever, but what are you going to do if you get like a sponsor that's like, what if you got a hat sponsor? What are you supposed to do about that? Although I will say, I saw a guy who recently he screwed one to the bill of his hat. I commend him on that. That's actually a good approach.
There are ones that you can make, right? You get the parts and you can turn any hat into one. Secondly, so wear the hat part of the time, and then when you have those other angles, right, make sure you have their hat on during
in
some
that
of those
shot.
other angles.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
That's how you handle that. But who's getting sponsors? You know, I'm not getting no sponsor. I ain't worried about it no more.
Speaking of sponsors, and this is interesting. This is interesting because there's a channel, Lost in Lindsay. I'm not sure if you guys know who he is.
I've heard that.
I didn't watch that video yet, but I know what you're talking about.
So he's got about 170,000 subscribers. He's got a great channel. And he's close to me. He's in Jupiter, like a lot of the other channels. He had a lot of sponsors to the point where he was stopping his videos to do infomercials.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where, and he had Mystery Tackle Box is probably one of his main sponsors, but he started even getting outside of the fishing community and doing sponsorships. I mean, he got given a boat and everything. So, but then the company fell through. But moral of the story is he got to a point where he hated making YouTube videos, and that's what he does for a living. He does it for a living, and he felt like his content was suffering because with all the sponsorships, he wasn't taking the time to get to that, you know, showing the adventure and getting to that ultimate fish he catches and then putting the time in. He was under deadlines to meet his sponsorship commitments. So his quality videos and what he wanted to do was suffering. So he decided he put a video out last week. He dropped he had a lot of sponsors.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's making some good money, but he dropped every single one. He said, I won't take on another. He goes, I'm going Patreon, and that's it. And
if there's probably a balance, but yeah, I seen he put that out. I haven't watched the video yet. I was going to watch it today, and then I didn't get a chance.
Yeah. But a few people commented that there's some YouTubers say you'll make more money with Patreon if you focus with that than the sponsor.
At his size, he might, because like you said, he's over 150 grand, I think, subscribers.
Yeah, he's got loyal. So, you could have 150,000, but when there's channels that are 150,000, and I consider them dead channels where,
right.
He's got 150,000 subscribers, and as soon as his video hits, he's got 20,000 views in a couple hours. He's got loyal subscribers. He's got a good following. So I think the Patreon avenue might work better for him.
I've noticed that ad thing with one of my favorites too. I think, how we're all kind of feeling all of a sudden the last 4 or 5 months, everything's kind of going down for us, views and everything.
Oh, it's dropping like a rock.
They're all feeling it. And I just noticed in the last couple months, one of my favorites, Deer Meat for Dinner, is doing a lot more sponsorship, not just his knives and stuff, but actually the same thing, stopping in a video and doing an ad on a dating website for a dating website.
Wow,
or whatever. And I'm
I didn't see that. Those burned in ads.
And as a viewer, it does take a little bit away from what you're used to seeing.
Kind of cringe, man.
Huh?
That's kind of cringe. Him doing
a
video to do a dating video. That's kind of
yeah. And he goes back to when his wife and him met, and kind of the love story thing. But it's like, man, or he has other sponsors, but he'll do that. He'll go, let me take a minute to talk to you about, and he'll just cut to him talking about a certain sponsor. And as big as he is, he's getting folks that are outside of the normal, fishing community, hunting community, wanting to be on his channel, wanting to be sponsors. Right. So it's him doing these ads for things that are a little bit outside of the realm of what we're used to seeing. So.
I'll say on that, like one of the things that I've seen is that if you can get, especially in I don't know how it works for other people, but for like fishing and hunting and outdoors and that kind of thing, the bigger money contracts for ad integrations and sponsorships are the companies that are outside of fishing. If you can, I can't think of a very good example, but probably like a dating website, Honey, or I don't know, one of those, Ustream or something. That is where you are going to get the bigger dollar sponsorships. And it's my experience that, like, if you're going to do YouTube, in my opinion, the direction you need to go as far as revenue is that you have to have your different pots. You have to have your different sources and revenue streams. And so, like, AdSense is pitiful, and YouTube, they're looking out for the advertisers. They're not looking out for the creators. So you can't look to YouTube and AdSense revenue. That can't be your main source of revenue. It can be like 20%. And your revenue should be something along the lines of like 20% AdSense, 20% affiliate marketing, 20% Patreon, 20% merchandise sales. Sales and services should actually make up like something like 40% of your revenue. If you're really serious about full-time, really doing it, need to be doing like what you're doing, Wayne. You need to have a service, something that you do, and YouTube is a byproduct of that creates additional, sources of revenue. Mm-hmm. Ad integrations and stuff like that should be a 20% portion of it. Now, that having been said, we have done we've had advertising partners that we've worked with in limited fashion, but we've done it. And we kind of took a little bit of a step back about that. I'm like, we're humoring. I'm always looking like I'm going to hear whatever anybody has to say about that. I'm going to hear you out. But that having been said, I've got, we're at 4,300 subscribers, which isn't that many. But aside from that, I have, 1,000 people right there that helped get me to where I am, that I almost know everybody's name from that first 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. That was like, I highly value that. People like Shannon, who have been around forever. And I'm going to, like, anytime I have a conversation with somebody about that, I think about Shannon, or I think about you guys. I think about somebody who's always in my comments, and I'm like, is this something that I want to be talking about in front of that person? I'm going to be respectful of that. And and we've turned down like the biggest sponsorship offer that we've ever had, we turned down because it was like I would feel kind of embarrassed about having that conversation with any one of you guys and being like, hey, we're out fishing, we're having fun, we're on Potter Island. But let me take a second to tell you about this dating website and how amazing, your experience. I can't do that. You got to draw the line somewhere. You got to be, you got to have some respect for everybody who's taking their time to sit here and watch videos and stuff.
And for me, it's got to be something that I believe in and use. So I've been married 36 and a half years now. There weren't dating websites back then. So I can't come on here and talk about how great a dating website is. I've never been around dating websites. You know what I mean? So let me sell. You got a fillet knife that I use? Sure, I'll do something for that. A beer that I like to drink, I'll do that too. But some of these other stuff's a little bit out there.
Yeah, I agree. If I'm a fan of the product, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
If I'm not a fan of the product, I'm going to humor you. I'll have that conversation. I'm cool with that.
Right.
But don't expect if I'm not a fan of the product, don't expect that you can throw a few more, an extra zero on the end of it. And I'm going to be like, well, I think I can get Shannon to buy this. I'm not doing that.
Well, go ahead.
Well, there's a YouTuber. He pushes a fillet knife company pretty hard. And I gave it a shot. And I'm like, wow, those are pretty inexpensive for him to say his knife is so good. And it was a piece of crap.
See, and there's that. Now you got somebody who is also respected in the realm of what you're doing, and they're like, well, this thing is a piece of crap. And here you are trying to get everybody to buy it. You know what I mean? So again, it's got to be something that you believe in and think is good before you go out there and put your name to it. You know what I mean? At least.
Well, I use that. The clip I use, the weight clip.
Yes.
So I don't see anyone else using that on YouTube. It's more geared towards my waters because I fish deeper waters. But I would feel okay sponsoring that because I believe in it and it changed the game for me. But no, I would not recommend or push a product that I didn't believe in. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I actually spoke to the owner of that company. We went back and forth a little bit, and what he was offering me was silly. So I said, if someone asks me about it, I'll let them know where to get it. But whatever.
Yeah. Understood. So did you get anything cool fishing related or outdoors related for Christmas, Wayne?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Just show
that sounds like somebody who just got a new tackle box.
It sounds like something good.
No, I actually my biggest purchase recently, which has helped on my last 3 chips, was I sold my Garmin and I upgraded to the Raymarine Axiom Real Vision, and I also got the Seymour mapping chip.
Oh,
nice.
And,
okay, so we as soon as we hear Seymour, everybody's like, oh, you got to explain what that is for anybody who's listening in after the fact or anything like that. What's Seymour mapping chip?
Okay, so basically it's an exact image of the chart plotter. Is amazing. It's like you're seeing the ocean floor. You're seeing every little nook and cranny of the reef. So it's almost like cheating. So before you would go to a waypoint, you're like, oh, I have this spot marked, and you would drive around the whole area and look for exactly, some marks on your down vision that you'd want to fish or try to mark some fish.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't even need a waypoint. You can just zoom in and say, here's the area I know about. I'm going to go there. I'm going to put my boat exactly 10 feet between that rock and this rock, get my bait right between those rocks so I don't have to worry about a grouper running in a hole. I'm going to get them to come out onto the sand here and have a better shot of reeling them up. It just changes things, man.
That is awesome.
Ridiculous.
That is awesome. He's willing to do the cream.
Well, we're talking. I was just saying how, it's the companies outside of the niche, outside of the area that pay the most. I guarantee any one of those herpes cream people come to sponsor anybody at all. Nobody's turning down that sponsorship. That's going to be money.
All right, Stanley, you get any cool fishing related Christmas stuff?
I got okay for starters here, like just so my birthday is right before Christmas.
Mine's right after.
Yeah, I know. So you're in the same boat with me, where it's like, God, what was a Christmas gift and what was a present gift? I don't remember. I got some gear, I got some shirts and stuff like that I'm totally stoked about. Rachel got me a bunch of nice stuff. What did I don't know off the top of my head. It was such a whirlwind. Like Christmas was like a month long. So normally, just real quick here, because I'm not trying to like be that guy who's like, oh God, I don't know what I got for Christmas. For the past like 8 years, we have spent, if not Christmas, New Year's in Mexico. This is normally when I'm like right now, I'm normally in Mexico. I believe I missed Wayne last time. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but you were on here with us in January and I missed that one, or was that Darren?
It was December. You missed Wayne and you missed Darren. You missed both of them.
Darren was on purpose, but Wayne was.
We'll let him know that when he's on again.
He's not in the chat to defend himself, so
no, he's not.
He needs to be.
Yes, he does.
He's got a girlfriend now. That's on him.
We'll talk about that in a second.
So normally this time of year we're down to Mexico, which always screws up the Christmas, plans with the family and everything, or we're always felt like it did. But now we're Rachel has a week off in late January, so that's when we're going to Mexico, and so we had Christmas with the family and everything, and Jesus, I'd forgotten how stressful it is. Like I swear to God, it's been 8 years since I've had a full on, Christmas with the family kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time in almost a decade, and it's like I had completely forgotten how stressful this was. Like the back and the forth, we've got Rachel's family and my family. We've got my brother coming in town, but he didn't show up on the day he was going to show up, which pushed things back a day, which is fine. But then it pushes other things back a day. And then I had my cousin come in town completely unannounced, and then of course we got to do, I don't know. It was just like a lot more stuff than what I was accustomed to. I'm accustomed to running away to Mexico and I'm going to be doing that again in the future.
Understood. All right. So I brought that up because I got some good gifts. So yeah, Christmas and then my birthday was actually yesterday. So they kind of come together. I'm that, just like you, I'm that kid. Hey, this is your Christmas and birthday present. It used to suck. But the first thing I want to share with you guys is something that I saw and I asked for. This is something I wanted. So it's great to have a bucket on the boat, right? You need buckets. You can throw fish in the bucket to bleed them. You can use a bucket. If you don't have wash down, you use a bucket to scoop water to wash down the deck. They just come in real handy. But if you're on a small boat, like my little 18-foot Mako, buckets get in the freaking way. So now the nice big new boats, they usually have a compartment that's made just to put a damn bucket in, right? But on a small boat, they get in the way. So I'm watching someone else's video, and I would give them credit if I remember who it was, but I don't. But they had one of these. And I was like, that is the cat's meow. That is a bucket that collapses. So here, now it's a bucket. All right? Got the handle and everything. Use it however you want to use it. And then when you're done, throw it in your compartment, right? Where it fits nicely. So saw it, asked for it, got it. Super happy with it. The wife got it for me on Amazon. Shameful plug. There is a link down in the description if you guys want to check out the collapsible bucket. But so that's something that's going to be on the boat forever. Oh, thank you, Mr. Stanley Orchard. I got to take a break. Got to say cheers. Appreciate it, brother.
Happy birthday, man. Get one on me.
Thank you. There, Stanley just put a link up. Now, the next thing, which I think is even cooler, and the wife did this without me I didn't know about this, okay? You guys heard of toadfish products?
Love toadfish.
Yeah, they're real popular now, but I haven't owned anything from toadfish, so I haven't really haven't been in on them. But she got me this, okay? So what you see is like a neoprene case, okay? Real soft. And then in the front pocket right here, check this out. Fillet knife, folding blade fillet knife, but it's not a little baby fillet knife, right? And then it's got a little clip where you can clip it, like if you want to hang it on something, right? But then you push the little button on the back and it folds. It's saltwater protected, supposedly. We'll find out. So I was like, well, that's pretty freaking cool. So that's in the front pouch. Now, when I go, usually freshwater or saltwater fishing, most places I go where I take the boat, other than Canyon Lake, has a cleaning station by the ramp, right? So you get off the boat, get your fish, take them to the cleaning station, and fillet, and go to town on them. Surf fishing or Canyon Lake, there's no fillet table at the beach, right? And so I would steal my wife's cutting board that I would put on the tailgate to fillet fish. Well, the inside of that thing is this guy, right? First, it's got knife sharpeners. I don't know how good those are, right? But what I like is it just folds out. And it's a nice big cutting board, right? And it just folds up like that. And it has its magnets on it to hold it shut like that, right? So I'm like, what? And I've never seen this before. She just picked it out and thought it'd be a good idea to get me. And it's one of my favorite gifts because I can just take this whole thing, throw it in the truck when I go to the surf, and I'm set. So, yes, there's a shameful plug in the description below also.
Oh, here, I'll throw that up real quick while you're.
Those are two of my favorite fishing-related Christmas gifts that I got. So,
I gotta say, I am the biggest fan of toadfish. Like, I'm actually, as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna send them an email just because I'm that shameless plug kind of guy. I love the products that they have. For anyone who doesn't know, they have a bunch of products where it's like a cup holder thing that you can like slap on your dash and it doesn't like fall away or anything. Which all my stuff drops. And I will say, like, that knife, for one, a funny story on that. When we were on Perry's boat, like the last time we were out there, he's got his outriggers and he's got them tied down, and the lashes that he uses are kind of old and they're smaller. I think he's replaced them since, but he's got a bubble blade and he hangs it right there for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he hangs it right next to the lashings for his outriggers. And those bubble blades are sharp. Those are some pretty damn good knives. And so I went to pull it out of the holder. It had to be me. Of all freaking people, it was me, the guest on the boat. But I pulled that thing out and I cut his lashings for the outrigger 100 miles offshore.
Oh.
So
wow.
we had to jerry rig those things back into place.
Wow.
It would have been nice if that bubble blade had a little clip where I could hang it on my belt.
Yeah, right. Dang, man, that's a trip I want to make.
Oh, man.
Wow. Okay, that took a second for me to read.
Yeah, me too. That's not the captain I want when we do go.
Man.
Well, you better have a porta potty on your boat for an offshore trip.
Yeah, that ain't right. That ain't right.
You know, funny story on that. Like, from what I've been told, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't think, unless it's like a special order kind of a thing, like Freeman does not put a head on their boats.
Really?
Almost exclusively. Just a weird thing I heard along the way. I could be totally wrong on that, but I heard that from a reliable source several times, and I thought that was strange enough to be able to bring up in conversation.
That's one of the requirements for my next boat. The wife says it needs to be bigger and it needs to have a head if she's going to go out there with me. And I said, if you're going to go out there with me, we'll get a head on it. So
I agree. Whatever's going on there, I totally agree 100%.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Never a dull moment.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Don't use a bucket like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hang it over the side or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's other things that can be done.
Yeah.
That's why I like to fish alone a lot. Not to worry about that.
You know what? I'm weird like that. I don't even. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not very comfortable having this conversation. I'm just like that. I don't do bathroom humor, but I don't really go to the bathroom on the boat. I am totally prepared and ready before we ever leave.
Yeah. Same here.
There's ways to do that.
It's a waste of time that could be spent fishing. And I'm one of those guys, I'm a firm believer that's like, the longer you have a bait in the water, the more time you have a bait spent in the water, the more luck you are going to have that day. So if I'm spending time like drinking, I don't drink on a boat hardly at all. I'll drink on the way home. I might, if we're having an okay day, you can kind of calm down. But otherwise, I don't drink on a boat. I rarely eat on a boat. And going to the bathroom, like all of that stuff, it takes time. It hurts me. Like I'm filming and I have to film. This is something that I am committed to. I'm going to film. So that's okay. But there's limited amount of time that I have between hitting record on a camera and catching a fish. And I can't even like with that on the screen. How am I supposed I don't even know what I was talking about.
That's the first time he's ever lost his train of thought.
That's just completely shut me up right there. I will say, Miss Mud Tramp, that normally it's throwing up that we use for that.
Where are we going today?
This is not how I expected to begin this season.
No, this is not the first episode I expected.
I have to think that you had something to do with this.
All right, let's change it up a little. So you mentioned Darren earlier. Is he not doing YouTube? I haven't seen a video from him in a while. Is he been doing YouTube?
That's a good point. I've seen a lot of Instagram, and we have a group that a few of us are in on Facebook that he's in. So a lot of pictures there. He's real busy with the girlfriend, and he's just started doing some ice fishing, I think. So we're going to have to harass him because he's one of those early live stream walleye ice fishing guys that I started following.
Yes.
I thought that was just so freaking cool. So.
That was a really PC way of saying that I understand he has a girlfriend, and from all accounts, she seems, wonderful. Love her to death. Like I've seen the Instagram stuff like that. But I'm also one of the bros. And the girlfriend is the first thing that gets blamed. Whatever is going on, he needs to get his content back out there.
True.
Sorry. True. You know what? We need to invite her on. I want her on the live stream. Not him. I want her.
No, that would be. She could tell on him probably.
That would be fun, right? Can you imagine the things that she had? Hey, Wayne, can we get your wife on?
We can another time.
That's where we're going to get the real stories.
Yeah, Audrey's not on without me being here at least. Sitting beside her with control of the mic.
So right now, my wife's in the bedroom. I'm in the guest room. She's in the bedroom setting up her new computer for her new at-home job tomorrow. She's packing up the old company's computer and putting up the new one. And of course, I'm more tech savvy with hooking all that up. So she's in there probably steaming right now until I get off this line.
Hey, well, no offense to you. I love you, Wayne. I love you. But I'll trade you guys right now. I want to talk to her. Oh, that needs to be a thing. Dude, talking to your wife. I'm not like I that just is an epiphany thing to me. Like I can imagine she's got to have stories to tell. That's all I got to say about that. You are not going to be as forthcoming as she would be.
Most of my wife's stories would be less about fishing and outdoors and more about stuff I did when I was young and in the Army.
True.
She would love to
Mine would too. That's why Rachel's not invited on this, because I know the stories that she'd tell.
Mm-hmm.
You can check us out. We have a Stanley Orchard podcast you can check out by searching Tackle Box Talk on any major podcast platform. And you can get in on the stories that she has to tell, my brother as well. But that ain't going on YouTube. It's coarse language. Using an island, like, are we talking about the bath? She tried using the island for the bathroom? Oh, like they pulled over. Okay. Yeah, well, man, we're down here on Padre Island. Like, you're preaching to the choir on that one.
I bring Audrey a bathroom out there when we go to the beach. So,
shoot, mosquitoes here will carry you back into the mangroves.
Yeah.
What happened to Bob? The skeeters got him. Keep moving.
Took him away.
Yeah, everybody be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. It is that time of year. We had a rain a week ago, so.
Hey, can you see this picture clear? Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Seymour mapping.
Wow.
How deep?
That's
Like,
190 feet.
Is that
Yeah.
a sunk vessel there?
Yeah, it's a sump ship. You could see where the current coming from the south of it blew out the hole and deposited everything to the north of it.
Right.
Mhm.
And you can see there like a rock line over there. So
Yep.
you could within a couple of feet position exactly where you need to be. Especially if you I have spot lock on my boat, so I can fish any part of that and know
Yeah,
exactly where
I
I'm at.
love that spot lock. Mine has that too. Now, I think Blue Gabe uses that,
Yep.
but isn't it for? And this has been a while since I've seen him do anything with it. But at the time, it was only certain areas. Like they didn't have it mapped out like that. The whole
Yeah.
U.S. coast. So
I held off. My area was very, very limited. There was basically nothing. Once it got up to Jupiter, it pretty much cut off. But the newest update filled in, I would say, about 70 to 80% of the areas I fish.
wow.
So it was at that point, it was worth it. And they mapped out, and then there's a blank area once you get past about 160 feet. But then they mapped out what a spot we call Push Button Hill, which goes from in the front, it goes from about 400 feet up to 250 feet, and then gradually back down to 400 and 500 feet, and then drops off to 700 feet. So it's a really nice mount out there. That's where I caught the tuna. And the Seymour mapping now, basically before you had a waypoint that said you're at Push Button Hill, but it's 6 miles across. So you know what I mean? So now you could set your drift up on the exact drop off and know exactly where you are without having to guess or go back and forth and figure out your depths. It's just,
That's crazy.
it's cheating. It really is. You still got to know how to catch them.
Charters, thanks.
You still got to know how to catch them.
I'm wondering if they're going to win or if they'll bring that out. So, real quick, well, you just showed us. How far off shore are you going to get to that point you just showed us? Just rough estimate.
Oh, that's about 9 miles right there.
And it's now, and Stanley, you could probably fill in better, but it's my understanding one of the drawbacks for us offshore is there's not a lot of structure out there. There's some man-made stuff, right? But other than that, it's pretty smooth. Yeah, it drops off and all that. But really, the folks out of Texas, when they go offshore, are looking for rigs to fish just because we don't have that reef and stuff that you're talking about. Stanley, yeah?
Yeah, we have a lot of rigs now that are like they've been cut off. So they're rigs that everybody has on their waypoints, but they don't exist anymore. And sometimes there's cut off stuff on the bottom, sometimes there's not. So some of those are still valid fishing spots. Reynolds Platform is one that I'll admit still exists. That's a good one. And I'm not going to tell you what it's called now because it's not a platform. It's not called Reynolds Platform. I'm not going to give out a current good fishing spot. But the old Reynolds Platform, go ahead, write that down. The old Reynolds Platform is still a valid and good fishing spot. But yeah, there's not many, and there are some. There's like that reef out there out of Port Aransas.
Boatman's?
Sorry, yeah, I don't know what it's called. I don't remember much about it. We don't fish it, and it's because it's an artificial reef that they installed for people to go fish. And the first thing that happens is everybody went and fished it. Yeah, so it's like there's not a whole lot of value in that spot to me. It's great. The value of that spot to me is that everybody goes and fishes that instead of fishing the spots that I go to.
Ben, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Mr. Covarrubias, sir, it's a pleasure. Appreciate that.
It's a lot different in Texas as far as like you got to go a little ways or find some kind of little structure. When I was there in the Keys and our family friend took us out, we didn't even go a couple miles and we're off some kind of little, I don't know what it was, rocks or whatever, and we're catching snapper. I caught that nurse shark. And it was just a short little boat ride where for us, now you can find some of that stuff in around the jetties close in. But if you're going to go offshore fishing in Texas, it's usually there are some small gas rigs and stuff that are closer in, but the real rigs that everybody's talking about, those guys are what, 40, 50 miles out?
Well, and on top of that, when you get into the 80 to 100-mile range is where you hit the continental shelf, and that is where we start running into stuff like what he's doing with that Seymour Maps. That's where like a lot of the spots that we go to, Nueces Dome, Falcon, some places like that. That's where we're looking at bottom contours, and the maps that we look at are ridiculously. My uncle has Seymour now. I haven't seen it myself. I know he just got that, but the maps that we were looking at prior to him getting that were really like pixelated. We know that there's a dome here, but you don't see anything. There's nothing to see on the fish find. On the finder, you'll find stuff, but not on the map. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that Seymour. I will say, funny side note on that, when we went to Canyon Lake, we took my dad's boat out there, and that's like the first time we've ever taken that thing to any kind of freshwater body. And we ended up not getting a video out of it. It was kind of a bit of a colossal bust as a result of the weather that we suffered through on that time. Cold front hit right when we were there. And I don't know, got every excuse you can name. I got it. But we get out there and we get in the water, and I'm like, all right, we're going to do some fishing. I've got the spots that you gave me, and I'm ready to check this out. I'm ready to do some stuff. And thank you, because those spots were the most productive spots of everything that we had out there, even if we didn't get anything. But I didn't realize that we needed to download new maps for the lake. Like, I didn't know how far the GPS had extended from when he had it on there. So we didn't have a map of the lake at all.
Shit. Ouch.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I use Navionics on mine, and then I've got the one that it's like a subscription. So like I can pick, like, of course I go to Michigan and fish Saginaw Bay off the Lake Huron. So I've got that area mapped out for me. I've got all my local freshwater lakes here in Texas, and right now I've got the Texas coast mapped. But if I suddenly went to Louisiana with my boat, I could have it map the waters there along Louisiana. So I like that for mapping. That's one of my favorites, Navionics.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that. We're so like into our routine and the things that we do. We've got our area outside of Port Aransas, and we didn't know. I didn't have any idea. Went up to Canyon Lake and had no idea that we had to extend our maps. Get a different map set for what we were doing.
Learn the hard way.
Yeah. I will say we gave it a very valiant effort. I found fish, thanks to you. I found fish. We just weren't able to get into them.
For the record, I didn't give him any top secret spots.
Oh, bull.
Right. I gave him the spots that Texas Parks and Wildlife will give anybody if you just do a little research on the website. That's what a lot of people fail to do.
Nope. Offer this gentleman a $5 super chat and see what it gets you.
What's the app Fishbrain where people will post their spots?
Yes, I don't do that.
And that's when you were talking earlier about some of your folks inshore fishing there, that people were getting mad at them.
Yeah.
There's a particular couple that fishes there that use that Fishbrain to mark their spots and share them. And I assume that's kind of one of the type of things you were talking about.
How mad can you get about that though? Like,
well,
okay. I got an example on that. I apologize. I want to hear your insight on this, but here's my example on it. Oh, sorry. Okay. So my example real quick on this Packery Channel jetty. There is a hole. I'm not going to say where it is, but there is a hole on the Packery Channel jetty that holds every single fish on the entire channel in that entire area. They're all right there, 6 inches from your toes, and everybody's casting their rods in the middle of the channel. The fish are right beneath your feet in this hole, and no amount of Fishbrain or any other app is going to let people know that that's the hole where everything is at. That's my 2 cents. Your turn.
Cool.
Where we send the pot liquor. No, there was an incident. Well, I think when someone comes and fishes an area that's from another area, and they promote the area they're going to as this is the Mecca of fishing, and you have the locals there, they're going to get upset, and especially if you go out with a very well-renowned captain, and that captain puts you on spots where there's very large fish, and the next thing you know, those spots are broadcast on Fishbrain.
Yeah.
You're going to burn a lot of bridges doing
Yeah,
that.
that ain't right.
Yeah,
That ain't right.
yeah.
I think it's bad mojo. There's nothing wrong with going fishing like I did it on some of the freshwater lakes when I first got here. A real good friend of mine now, at the time we didn't know each other until I hired him as a guide. And he was one of those guys that like, hey, this is how you fish this lake. This is where I like to fish this lake. This is what I use. Instead of just pull up, throw a rod in here, catch a fish. You know what I mean? A good guide. But the last thing you do is then turn around and start telling everybody about the locations that this guy just told you about. Or some people even stoop to the low as to have the GPS on their phone where they can mark the spots they were just at with that fishing guide. Okay, you're going to go back there and fish yourself. That's fine. But don't take 10 buddies and let them all learn. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, there's a line there, I think.
I know charter captains that won't allow you. They'll watch you to make sure you don't pull out your phone and hit that you have those apps up where
That's
you can
good.
mark it.
I have to say that there was at least one time in particular where I went out with a charter captain. This was many years ago, before anything.
Yeah.
But many years ago, I went out with a charter captain and had to sit there with a note. Like my dad had to take him out of the cabin for oh, something's happening. We need you back here. And somebody was tasked with taking a notepad and writing down the GPS coordinates of the places that we had been. And that was stealing spots. But it was, I mean, it's a little bit different than just getting on your phone and like marking a GPS spot, like I'm not going to lie about that. I'll be straight up honest. I have, we've stolen spots off of a GPS like that before, but at least it was like, the subterfuge was like, we need you at the back of the boat because things, and somebody's sitting there with a notepad writing it down, trying to get what they can.
Boo hiss. You can't ever harass me about giving away spots anymore.
I have never taken anybody to any of those spots. Never done that. Only been there myself, sparingly.
Okay. Well, that's very.
It only took one trip. I fished them out. They don't exist anymore.
All the fish are gone.
Yeah.
All right, we need to wind down, folks. We've hit our mark and we've gone beyond it. So, Wayne, real quick, you're our guest. What you got coming up here soon?
I've got well, it's been a couple weeks since I released something. I did put a couple out a few weeks ago, but I just loaded all the footage into my computer. So I've got about 60 videos to condense into one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put out a video of that trip from Sunday with the blackfin tuna. Nice. And it's gonna have some good action in it. So look for that one. Probably it'll either, if I don't get it up by Thursday, I'll wait till next week, Tuesday. But we'll hopefully by Thursday.
Awesome. What about you there, Mr. Stanley Orchard?
I had a wonderful week with my family. We managed to get out and do a lot of good fishing. I'm not going to rush making this video, but I'm hoping to have it out in the next couple of days. I keep having some things like just bumps in the road the entire way. We have a giveaway coming up on my channel. Stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to drop the announcement and do a whole thing on it this week. That's my intention. I don't know if I can pull that off or not. We had we had a friend of mine passed away, and it really set me back the last couple of days. A rough way to start the year, yeah. I'll be discussing that whole thing later. We'll have a memorial thing on one of our videos or something.
All right.
Really great gentleman. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. I got kind of set back, trying to get back on track, get all that the ball rolling on that whole thing. And we do have a new podcast episode coming out on Wednesday.
Very cool. I got nothing. No, I got I got a planned. I've got a fishing trip at the end of this month with a couple of my buddies. We'll see how that goes. Between now and then, I'm not sure what's going on. I might get to the water and do a little bit fishing. I might not. I don't know. So it's just all kind of up in the air. I hope everybody in the chat, first of all, had a great New Year's. Everybody made it through safely, hopefully. And anything else before we shut this whole thing down, gentlemen? Stanley, alibis? None?
Thanks for having me, guys.
John, happy birthday, man. That's what I want to say.
Happy birthday.
Anybody wants to check out CPro Fishing with Wayne? It used to be CPro Fishing with Wayne. Now it's the CPro Fishing. I have his link in the chat in there. Check him out. There are links in the description down below for everything that we've been talking about this entire episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on the first of what is going to be an amazing new season, a wonderful new year of live streams. We have some exciting things coming this year. Thank you for joining us today. We got some cool stuff coming.
Yep. One quick alibi I did need to mention. Our very first, and I'm 99.9% sure of this, our very first guest was Wayne, and he wasn't in season 2 last year. He was from season 1. It was December. So it was season 1. So Wayne, I think you're our very first guest. You're also our first return guest. So there you go.
I look forward to next time, man. It's always a pleasure having you on here.
Absolutely.
And can't wait to see what you got for us next weekend. Also, I'll be in Florida at some point here. So just, so you know, got to keep that.
Ready. I'll be
Trying
ready.
to keep that open.
He dropped it. All right, folks. Y'all have a great night.
All right, guys.
We'll catch you guys later.
Good night, guys.